Welcome to the Man of Recaps. This is The Flash, Season 6. Since the beginning of Season 1, we knew that one day Flash would disappear in Crisis. But all the time travel antics Flash has gotten up to over the years has altered the timeline. Crisis is happening this season! In fact, Barry gets a visit from the Monitor, who they met during the Elseworlds crossover last season. And he has some bad news for Barry: the Flash won't just disappear.
In order for billions to survive this coming crisis, the Flash must die.
But they have a few weeks before Crisis, so in the meantime, it's normal shenanigans. A new speedster villain called Godspeed shows up. We met him last season in the Nora's Future flashback. The Flash easily captures him, but turns out he's a robot. In fact, they've got like 4 of them. The Godspeed mystery is not resolved this season. It may be a big part of Season 7. Another big problem are a bunch of black holes appearing in Central City. Turns out YouTuber scientist Chester P. Runk accidentally turned himself into a black hole. So the Flash has to stop a black hole the only way he knows how, by running really fast and punching it in the face. Somehow this actually works, and Chester has to cool off for a while, but by the end of the season, he joins Team Flash as a science guy. Dr. Caitlin Snow feels bad for her icy alter ego, Killer Frost, that she only comes out to fight metahumans, so Caitlin offers to take a back seat in their body this season and let Killer Frost just live. Here to be her life coach is the elongated man, Ralph Dibny, with the Book of Ralph. First things first, they decide to drop the killer. She's just Frost now, and she spends the season trying to figure out who she is besides just Caitlin's alter ego. At the end of last season, Vibe decided he didn't want his powers anymore, took the metahuman cure, so now he's just Cisco Ramon, genius-level intellect. He's living the dream with his great new girlfriend Camilla, but one night, it's Danny Trejo coming into his bedroom again. Remember, he's Breacher, his ex-girlfriend Gypsy's father, and he's got some bad news: Gypsy was murdered! Turns out her killer was an evil Cisco doppelganger, but long story short, our Cisco outsmarts him. Now, you can't have a season of The Flash without a Harrison Wells. This season, it's an Indiana Jones adventurer type who calls himself Nash. Per usual, at first he and Cisco don't get along, but it's like, hey man, we do this every season, by the end we're gonna be best friends. Now, the main villain of the first half of the season is Dr. Ramsey Rosso, whose mother just died of blood cancer. This makes him real sad, because this dude really loved his mom.
And my mother, a mom, just like mom. I lost my mother. My mother's my mother. My mom, just like mom.
He's got the same blood cancer and tries to cure it with dark matter, which, as you might expect, does not go well. I don't want to use the term vampire, but he does go around sucking out everyone's blood. Anyone he kills this way turns into an undead thrall, so pretty soon we've got zombie apocalypse in Central City. Ramsey thinks he's the hero in all this because he's cured death, but the good guys don't normally turn into ugly giant zombie monsters. But the Flash takes him out the only way he knows how, by running real fast and punching him in the face. And now it's finally here, the mega crossover all these CW shows have been leading to: Crisis on Infinite Earths. Long story short, a wave of antimatter energy is destroying the entire multiverse, so all our heroes come together to stop it. Turns out this is all Nash Wells' fault when he accidentally released the Anti-Monitor. His high-tech antimatter wave is actually just powered by a dude on a treadmill. That's not the Jay Garrick Flash from Earth 3, it's the same actor though. He played the Flash in the original 90s series. But anyway, this is it. To save the multiverse, Barry's gotta sacrifice himself. Of course though, old Flash immediately figures out the obvious loophole.
Novu said the Flash must die in Crisis. He never said which one.
And so 90s Flash takes one for the team and sacrifices himself to save the multiverse. Turns out though, that was totally pointless. The multiverse is destroyed anyway. A select few heroes travel to the dawn of time to face down the Anti-Monitor. It's a big CGI battle. Anti-Monitor 1v1's the Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, who long story short defeats him but dies. Somehow though, his sacrifice restarted the universe, but not a multiverse. It's been condensed into one Earth Prime. This has some interesting repercussions though. The timeline was rewritten so that they've always lived on the same Earth. The Flash timeline was convoluted enough with all the time travel shenanigans they get up to, but now anything's possible. It's a full CW-verse reboot. Any villain could come back now. For example, Hartley Rathaway, the Pied Piper, who was a Season 1 villain. When Season 3 Flashpoint changed the timeline, he was actually a good guy, but now he's a villain again and no one remembers why. But now Team Flash saves his boyfriend from some science thing and he helps him out. He's a good guy again. And of course, one episode, Gorilla Grodd comes back. But this season, he claims he feels bad about being a villain, so he and Flash team up to escape his mental prison. Maybe Grodd's a good guy now. Now, the main plot this season begins with Allegra Garcia, a young metahuman with ultraviolet light powers. She's wanted for murder, and DA Cecile Horton's prosecuting her, but with her new mind-reading powers, she knows Allegra's innocent. Turns out the killer was her evil cousin Esperanza, who got the same powers and is now a metahuman assassin. Cecile helps clear her name. In fact, she quits her job as the DA and becomes a metahuman defense attorney. By the way, Iris officially starts her own online newspaper, the Central City Citizen. Cisco's girlfriend Camilla joins as a photographer, and Allegra joins as an intern. Turns out there's a big cover-up around who hired her cousin Esperanza, so Team Central City Citizen is on the case. Turns out they're dealing with a super secret criminal organization called Black Hole, who employs a bunch of light-themed assassins. The investigation leads them to McCulloch Technologies, and the leader of Black Hole is their CEO, Joseph Carver. One night, Iris is snooping around his dead wife Eva McCulloch's old office. She finds a mysterious mirror, and oh, what's this? Oh, pulled into it! Turns out Eva's not dead, she's trapped in the Mirrorverse. Yes, she was blown in here the night of the particle accelerator explosion. She's a brilliant scientist, but she's tried everything. There is no escape. And no one knows Iris is missing because Mirror Iris has taken over her life. Pretty soon Camilla discovers her secret and gets turned into a mirror clone too. They're both controlled by Eva, who is the main villain, has some master plan, and their motto is success is assured. Meanwhile, Frost is hit by a light bullet. Her icy healing, she should be okay, family, but she's not, so she leaves this season to go figure out why. The elongated man, Ralph Dibney, is still a private investigator on the side. He's searching for a missing heiress, Sue Dearborn. Eventually, he runs into her in a classic explosive meet cute. At first, she claims she's on the run from bad guys, but turns out she's actually a jewel thief, but turns out she's stealing from Black Hole. Yes, Black Hole was blackmailing her parents. She's trying to take them down, so they're actually on the same side. But a huge downside of combining the universes is that we've lost a whole multiverse of Harrison Wells, some of whom were our team's best friend. This new grumpy treasure hunter Nash is the only Wells left. Or is he? Apparently, all the other Harrison Wells are in his head somehow. Unfortunately, one of the Harrison Wells is actually Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. He possesses Nash, so our team has an exorcism. They go inside his head and help him face his worst memory. Now, for some reason, Nash took a real interest in Allegra, became a good mentor to her. Turns out that's because he was already the mentor to one of her doppelgangers. Yes, she was his protege, but during the Tomb Raider mission, oh, she died. So facing this memory exorcises Thawne, who's blasted out as lightning. Because he's part of the Reverse Speed Force, he can never really die. He's floating around out there like Voldemort. Meanwhile, there's something wrong with Barry's super speed. Turns out the Speed Force is dying from crisis-related shenanigans. I didn't realize the Speed Force could die, but I guess it can, so sad. Team Flash tries to create an artificial Speed Force, which is apparently a thing, but it's real hard to do. They don't succeed yet. So in the meantime, Barry starts wearing a watch that shows how much speed he's using. Evil Mirror Iris realizes that emotional stress makes him use more, so she breaks up with him. Oh, sad Barry. And so the Mirror people continue Eva's evil plan, which involves the villain from the first half of the season, Bloodwork.
And our only will is to serve our mother.
He's like, oh yeah, you're speaking my language. They let him out of his cage and he gives them some of his blood, but he decides to stay put for now. He's playing the long game. Indeed, after Mirror Iris puts his blood on a mirror, some of it's left over, so watch out for that. But now Barry has caught Mirror Iris red-handed, so she goes all Terminator 2, hand blades, yeah! Then without his speed, he can't stop her. Oh, she stabs him. But Barry defeats her with his real superpower, emotional heart-to-hearts that convince villains to find the goodness within. She's not a real person though, so Eva just deletes her, and now Mirror Lady is back in the real world. The next part of her plan is to kill her husband. She's mad at him for leaving her trapped in a mirror all these years. He has a safe house with his Charlie's Angels, light assassins, but there's way too many reflective surfaces around. So he gets Team Flash to protect him, the enemy of your enemy and all that. The light assassins all agree to work for Eva now, and there's a big old battle. But it's all pointless when Eva the rings out of the TV. Flash jumps in to save her husband, but she pulls a first-class Magneto and stabs him through Barry. She announces to the world, hey, I'm not actually dead, and takes over McCulloch Tech. But unfortunately, she frames her husband's murder on Sue Dearborn. Meanwhile, in the Mirrorverse, Iris tracks down Camilla. Together they try to escape. But Iris has been in here too long. Oh, she's starting to see things mirror-wise. Well, she disappears. And that's where Season 6 comes to an end on a cliffhanger. If you like this recap, hit that subscribe button for more of the best recaps of TV and movies. And if you loved this recap, check out the join button and support the channel as a member.